Have you heard the shocking story that nearly shattered Wayne Carini's reputation? The man who spent 13 years uncovering and restoring some of the rarest vintage cars on Chasing Classic Cars suddenly found himself in the middle of a legal firestorm. And the craziest part? He never saw it coming. It all started with a rare 1934 Pierce Arrow coupe, an automotive treasure that should have been a collector's dream. But what seemed like a routine sale quickly spiraled into a nightmare. A furious buyer, a missing car, and a tangled web of transactions would turn this deal into a full-blown legal battle. But here's where things get even more puzzling. How did this rare classic car end up in Wayne's hands under questionable circumstances? Who was behind the deal that sparked years of courtroom drama? Did Wayne Carini truly do something wrong? Or was he just a pawn in a much bigger scheme? How did this lawsuit drag on for years, threatening his legacy? And in the end, who really won? The answers will shock you. This isn't just another story about a car deal gone wrong. It's a high-stakes battle that shook the classic car community to its core. For 13 incredible years, Wayne Carini's love of vintage cars fascinated viewers on Chasing Classic Cars. The show was an exciting exploration of the world of classic car restoration, high-stakes transactions, and skilled workmanship, and it wasn't just about finding rare cars. Fans tuned in every week to watch Wayne and his crew uncover hidden car treasures and revive long-forgotten vehicles. Viewers were captivated by his extensive knowledge of exotic and vintage cars, which included insights that even highly skilled mechanics would find useful. Chasing Classic Cars, however, was about the art of the deal, not just restorations. Being an expert negotiator, Wayne frequently persuaded sellers to drastically reduce their prices. His extraordinary talent was demonstrated in one episode when he bought a car for just $50,000 and then sold it at auction for an astounding $400,000. Offering a combination of entertainment, education, and high-stakes car wheeling and dealing, the show flourished for more than 10 years. But, as with everything great, its run came to an end. An era for car enthusiasts worldwide came to an end in 2019, when Chasing Classic Cars, which had spent 13 years uncovering car treasures, aired its final episode. An iconic figure in the automotive industry, Wayne Carini has a long history of dealing in and restoring vintage vehicles. Through his popular television program, Chasing Classic Cars, and his prosperous companies, F40 Motorsports and Carini Car Care, he has amassed a devoted fan base due to his intense love of vintage cars. But legal issues can still affect even the most well-known people in the field. When Australian antique car collector Robert Richmond set his sights on obtaining a 1934 Pierce Arrow coupe, which was both rare and exquisite, the controversy started. Richmond had been looking for a perfect model to add to his collection because he was an avid collector. He discovered the Pierce Arrow during a trip to the United States and was captivated by its craftsmanship and historical significance right away. Because buying and shipping a vintage car abroad can be complicated, Richmond turned to an American friend, seasoned car restorer Gary Dixon, to help him with the transaction. It looked like a simple deal. Dixon would buy the car, supervise any necessary repairs, arrange for its shipment to Australia, and check it for authenticity and condition. Richmond paid the full $99,000 for the car in order to speed up the process, believing Dixon would act professionally and in his best interests. Sadly, this trust would turn out to be misguided. Issues started to appear shortly after the payment was made. Dixon did not fulfill his obligations, even though he was supposed to move forward with the restoration and shipment. Growing agitated, Richmond kept asking Dixon for updates, but got unreliable responses. There were suspicions that something had gone horribly wrong when the delays escalated into complete non-responsiveness. The situation worsened in 2016, when Dixon filed for bankruptcy, thereby eliminating any chance Richmond could get his car back using traditional methods. When Richmond learned in 2017 that Dixon had sold the Pierce Arrow coupe without his knowledge or approval, the situation took an even more disturbing turn. The car was given to Going Motors, a business that sells vintage cars. For all parties concerned, this discovery signaled the start of a legal nightmare. Wayne Carini unintentionally entered the growing controversy at this point. After purchasing the vehicle from Dixon, Going Motors contacted Wayne for an appraisal in an attempt to figure out its market value. Wayne determined that the car was worth between $110,000 and $120,000 based on his expertise. He said he would like to buy the car himself, but he was unaware of its shady past. The deal went through, and Wayne paid $120,000 to Going Motors for the car. Wayne had no reason to suspect any wrongdoing because a valid certificate of ownership was presented at the time of the sale. He carried on with his normal business operations, confident in his purchase. Wayne received a proposal from RM Auctions to auction the car shortly after he had acquired it. He was first apprehensive and set a lofty asking price of $260,000 in the hopes that it would turn off prospective purchasers. To secure a $25,000 profit for the auction house, RM Auctions swiftly located a buyer who was interested in the car and agreed to buy it for $275,000. Richmond didn't know what had happened to his beloved Pierce Arrow for years. Nevertheless, he persisted in following the car's path and eventually learned that it had been sold through RM Auctions. Infuriated, he began a vigorous effort to recover ownership, contacting all parties to the transaction. After RM Auctions was compelled by his questions and legal pressure to negotiate the vehicle's return, an agreement was reached whereby all transactions would be reversed and affected parties would receive refunds. The car was still not delivered to Richmond in spite of this resolution. Later, court documents showed that Wayne Carini's company, F40 Motorsports, had unintentionally kept the car's title, impeding the final return procedure. In 2018, Richmond, fed up with these delays, decided to take decisive legal action, suing Wayne Carini, F40 Motorsports, Carini Car Care, and Going Motors. The 2-year-long legal proceedings garnered extensive media coverage and damaged Wayne's otherwise impeccable reputation. The court looked closely at the complicated sequence of Pierce Arrow Coupe transactions. Richmond's legal team produced strong evidence that Dixon had broken the terms of the contract with Richmond by selling the car in bad faith. In the end, the court decided in Richmond's favor, confirming that he was the legitimate owner of the vehicle. Nonetheless, the court recognized that Wayne Carini and RM Auctions had behaved in good faith, which is a significant distinction. Since they had based their transactions on legally obtained ownership documents, they were not found guilty of any deliberate wrongdoing. However, Wayne and RM Auctions were held financially liable for paying the final collector's restoration expenses, as well as providing refunds to their respective purchasers. Wayne Carini had previously been embroiled in a legal confrontation. He and F40 Motorsports were sued again in 2011, this time for a 2007 Lamborghini Gallardo. The plaintiff, a customer using the online alias, had bought the car believing it included the $90,000 luxury luggage package that was advertised. The buyer found that the premium luggage set was missing when they received the car. Wayne and his staff first promised to fix the problem when he contacted F40 Motorsports for clarification. But the buyer took legal action after weeks of unanswered messages and growing annoyance. Wayne finally replied after months of stress, stating that the luxury package that had gone missing had been found. The spare key, which had also been withheld, was eventually shipped to the buyer. Even though the matter was resolved out of court, Wayne's company's customer service and communication practices were called into question by the incident. Roger Barr, the knowledgeable, funny, and constantly entertaining mechanic whose humor and skill made him a fan favorite, was one of the most adored characters on Chasing Classic Cars. But when he started having major health issues that made it impossible for him to continue appearing, his time on the show took a tragic turn. Roger was hospitalized in August 2017 due to a serious leg infection. After receiving initial treatment, he was released. However, in November, the infection reappeared, requiring him to return to long-term care. His doctors strongly advised against him going back to the physically demanding work at F40 Motorsports because he was already in his 80s. There were just too many risks involved in working in a busy repair shop. Roger was forced to leave the show he had been a part of for so long due to his deteriorating health. Shortly thereafter, he made the difficult choice to completely retire from employment. Regretfully, financial difficulties soon became a major problem. Roger's hopes of a quiet retirement were dashed because, despite his years in the business, he lacked the financial cushion that many believed he had. His condition deteriorated to the point where friends and supporters started a GoFundMe page to assist with his escalating medical expenses. Roger publicly acknowledged that he still needed to work to support himself and rejected rumors that he had a hidden nest egg. His tale served as a sobering reminder of the difficulties that even the most well-known individuals in the automotive industry face. Wayne Carini is still regarded as a titan in the auto sector in spite of these legal troubles. He is still respected and admired for his extensive expertise in restoring vintage cars, as well as his unwavering love of cars. Nonetheless, in the high-stakes realm of vintage car transactions, these lawsuits highlight the significance of diligence, openness, and thorough documentation. Wayne's experiences are a warning to buyers, sellers, and collectors alike. Even the most seasoned professionals must be vigilant to prevent being unintentionally caught in fraudulent transactions in a field where reputation and trust are crucial. The market for vintage cars is both lucrative and complex, requiring constant attention to detail and moral business conduct. Even though Wayne has overcome these legal obstacles, his tale serves as a reminder of how erratic the vintage car market can be. His passion for cars and unwavering dedication to the trade he has honed over the years have propelled him on his journey.